Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Brian and Manny Podcast, Episode 2. I'm your host, Brian, and I'm here with my good friend, Manny. Say hello to the people.
What's up, people? We're back for another
We
episode.
back. Whew. Yeah, we had a very eventful first episode explaining everything. And this time around, we're not going to do too much explaining. We already know the rules and everything and what's going to be happening. Today, we're just going to get right into the content and talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, the crazy world of professional wrestling. I have a few extra news stories we'll touch on, and then we'll get right to the reaction of the second episode of Raw on Netflix. So, let's get right into the news. So, big news today. We found out ton of chaos going on in WWE when it comes to the commentary. Oh my goodness. Hearing all of this has been absolutely insane. So here is my raw reaction to everything. So let me explain the backstory of what's going on. So I think I want to say at 11 o'clock late at night, right before NXT, during Raw on Netflix, Corey Graves, one of the most popular commentators who worked with Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, he's even worked with Joe a little bit as well, and Pat, of course, basically voiced a very interesting tweet last night of frustrations, apparently, of basically how he feels of where his positioning is when it comes to commentary. I was very surprised to hear this specific audio because, again, like, I always thought Corey Graves was a fantastic commentator, and I thought he was very happy with where his role was, but apparently after getting demoted to NXT, he was not very happy, and he had some very interesting thoughts on everything. So I'm gonna actually... Yeah, very choice of words, a lot of kind of vague, but basically you could kind of decrypt it and be like, oh, okay, this is what he's kind of saying. So I'm going to look for the tweet, and I'm actually going to read the tweet so we can get some context.
Very upset about, his position, and that his position supposedly has been taken or, usurped in a way. And, very shocking. But, yeah, I thought that, I don't know, it was shocking, because I never would have thought he would have been upset over this. But in a way, I kind of understand, because, also, it can't be just also the commentating. Could it be also the money? Is the pay is not as good as when he was on the main roster? Who knows? But we'll see what happens.
We generally don't know. It's, again, like, the only thing we know is he's very frustrated. And we'll explain the update, because there was an update yesterday during NXT. We'll explain. But here's the tweet that got everyone buzzing. So this is what he says. And he quotes, "Imagine chasing your dreams, then being told not deciding that you are no longer physically able to pursue your dream, that you dedicate your life to something dream absent and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not as famous enough for your own job. Just in case you've been wondering where I've been." End quote. So it seems like, apparently, from his words, again, it's he said, he said, but from his words, he feels like he's done all this great work, done an incredible job with WWE, both in main roster and other places, with both commentary, pre-show, whatever he's been doing, but kind of gets shafted by, like, the bigger guys. So, like, maybe Pat, maybe Joe, maybe bigger guys like him. He feels like maybe he's underappreciated when it comes to commentary, which is an interesting thought, because I thought Corey was more respectable to everyone, and obviously, of course, he respects Michael, of course, because him and been working with Michael for so long. I thought him and Pat were on decent terms, which it seemed like they were. But then I guess the move to Netflix kind of boiled over and kind of caused this weird case right now with Corey. So while Corey seems he's very grateful for everything, he seems very unappreciated when it came to him getting shafted from maybe SmackDown Netflix. Maybe he wanted to work with Joe or Pat or something like that, where he had the bigger spotlight, but then he kind of got shied away and got moved to NXT with Booker T and Vic Joseph. Now, again, note in mind, to me at least, I don't think NXT is a downgrade, in my opinion. I think NXT's product is really good right now. They have great champions. They're moving the guard. The veterans like Roxanne and people like that are starting ready to move up, while we have newer stars like Lola Vice and Sol Ruka. Cora Jade's still there. You obviously have Julia, Stephanie Vacure. You have a lot of great names in NXT that are working their tail off every day. So going to NXT as a main roster person is not a bad choice. Like, if you feel like you're lost in the main roster and you just need to go back home from NXT call-up, NXT is not a bad place to go And Shawn Michaels is willing to let you in and kind of rebuild yourself. Especially now after seeing what happened on NXT episode, having like a girl like Masha Slamovic there. It shows that the NXT product is pretty strong, especially if you have interest from another company, TNA, working very well together still to this day. It shows the product has changed a lot, but for the better. It's done really good stuff.
That's what it's about, rebuilding yourself and improving yourself too. If you just feel lost or out of the shuffle, that is what NXT is for, to rebuild your character again.
To rebuild yourself, exactly. So that's why, like, when I heard Corey was going to NXT, I was like, hey, this is a nice opportunity for Corey to go back home. He loved NXT back in the day. It's not a bad idea to go back home to NXT, especially since him and Booker have a great relationship and him and Vic are cool. I'm fine with Corey going back to NXT. But after seeing that tweet, well, it doesn't feel that way. So
it's
that's
concerning.
Kind of
that's all I can say. Very, very concerning.
Yeah, very concerning. So that's the context. That's why we're talking about this right now. Now we're going to talk about the actual update from today, because Fightful and PW Insider have been watching this story very closely, and they've been having some sources, and now we finally kind of have a context on why this is all happening and what's going on. What's the next steps in this situation? So, without further ado, let's see the article they put up about Corey Graves. So this was put up 1 day ago. So this is what Mr. Ross says, and I'll skip through everything like that. So basically, at first, to summarize this background, and then I'll talk about the parts that were first, like the newer news. Basically, Fightful is basically saying that they're not sure if this is a work or shoot at the time, but then now figuring out that after what Corey said was not a shoot, because then he did also put, before NXT, he put like, I have a lot to say tonight, watch NXT tonight, and then that tweet basically got put up. We all thought, hey, it's a work, he might get back in the ring or something, might be a work. But then after hearing what's going on and how, where Corey was when he was in the area and what happened next, then we're like, okay, it's not a work. Something is seriously wrong.
Yeah, no.
So, like, because a lot of people are like, hey, is he getting back in the ring? He was cleared years ago. Maybe this is the thing to get him back in the ring and kind of maybe throw shots at Pat or something. But no, not exactly. Basically, he is very frustrated with his role. So then what happens next? Well, this is what PW Insider and Fightful reported. So shortly after, PW Insider's claim that Corey Graves was seen at the TSA leaving the Orlando area was not going to NXT. Fightful can't confirm that information, but they did learn a lot more. So Fightful continues. Graves lives in Pittsburgh area, not in Orlando or Florida like much of the talent. He re-signed with WWE January of 2024, and he's at least had a couple of years left on his deal as of 3:45 p.m. that day. He is not at NXT rehearsals, and there is only 2 pairs of chairs present for NXT. Usually there'd be a third chair for a third commentator. There was only 2 for Booker and Vic Joseph. Mm-hmm. So he basically was in the area, ready to go to rehearsals, and then apparently there was a flight in that same time zone that sent him back to Pittsburgh going home. So it seems like, I guess he showed up for work, and I guess WWE was not very happy, and they basically sent him home. They said, you're going home. So Corey hopped on the flight, and then he went home with, obviously, his wife Carmella and his family. So that's not good. That's not very good. If you're getting sent home by WWE after what you said, that's not a good look. It's not a good look at all.
Yeah. And to continue more about this and what my thoughts on it are, it's sad. It's sad because you should be thankful that of this opportunity, because NXT is not a downgrade, and we just said this. This is not a downgrade. Sure, plans change. This is a business at the end of the day. A business. Mm-hmm. Now, whether if you like the business decisions, you don't have to like them, but you're gonna have to accept them. Despite this, if he is planning on quitting, then that's bad on him. That's his head. That's on him, and it'll be sad. But I think WWE will be just fine. But I love Corey Graves. He's a great commentator.
Oh, no, I do.
Sad about that he couldn't wrestle. He couldn't fully achieve his dream, but he still had use as a great commentator. They gave him a chance on commentary, and he took it, and he's been good at it for so many years. going from NXT going into the main roster. He was good at it, and he was there during the bad times of WWE. Probably one of the worst years in wrestling history, especially in WWE. And he stood there when some people left, when a lot of people left, whether it's backstage or if you're a superstar or a commentator, whatever. He still stood there. But over one little change of you going back to NXT at the place where you started, it's a little sad. But what I'm going to say to Corey, and whether he's listening or not, or if other people are listening or not, prove why, you deserve to be back in the main roster. Prove that again.
Here's the crazy thing about everything, and Fightful even talked about this as well, and even I thought this was crazy in itself. WWE basically said, hey, he was going to go to NXT for a short lease, and they were like, even Fightful reported like, hey, we're not going to be surprised if he would have got bought back like near the springtime in April. And we're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just have him go to NXT for like a month or two, and then have him go back to the main roster and do something.
And plus, when Pat McAfee is doing college, I don't know if he's going to still go back and do all that, but if he does,
we don't know yet. It's
Corey, let Corey go back. So with Cole.
Generally, that's why like WWE's been very happy with his roles. When I saw the report, they're very happy that he was very flexible. You can move him anywhere you want, then he'll be able to do his job fantastically, and that's true. He worked with Wade, he worked a little bit with Joe, he worked with Cole, he worked even a little bit with Pat on pay-per-view. So he's very flexible. And hell, listen, bro, the pay-per-views recently have been Michael Cole and Corey Graves every time. There's been one or two times you see Pat, but it's been both of them mostly for every pay-per-view, except for maybe Saturday night's main event. But every other pay-per-view, you see Corey Graves right front and center. Like, him and Cole are always there. So, if anything, I wouldn't be mad if I have to do a little NXT, but then, hey, you can go to the main roster and do the big PLEs. That's the big payday if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big day you want to be on commentary, is the pay-per-views. The big day, the reason why people talk about wrestling other than the weekly shows, it's the pay-per-views. It's the big blow-offs. Big shows, big rivalries, big matches, huge, humongous moments. Corey was there for a lot of them last year. Like, a lot of them. So you're telling me that he's frustrated that he's going to NXT, but he could have only been for like a month or two, and then probably head back to the main roster, or still do pay-per-views while doing NXT? Brother, that's like the dream job. Like, that is something that you should be proud of. Like, hey, I get a chance to do NXT, fun, young brand, and I get a chance to still do pay-per-views. And even if you lose the pay-per-view job, at least you could still be on TV doing something. I mean, you could do NXT pay-per-views. Have you seen how good those NXT PLEs are?
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels knows what he's doing. So I am a little torn, because like I said, I understand from Corey's perspective, you think you should be on the main roster right now, and I respect that. I respect that for any commentator. Like, hell, I would love for Booker T to go to the main roster, but again, Booker doesn't want to do that. Booker wants to focus on the young talent NXT, and I respect that.
And to be honest, he's done a fantastic job either way. Speaking of Booker T, I've always loved his commentating throughout all the years.
Yeah,
he's been the most hilarious commentator, probably one of the most hilarious people in WWE aside from R-Truth. I cannot lie, especially during his King Booker days. But
100%.
He's a great personality to have on television, and especially on commentary. I was just laughing yesterday, for Christ's sake, regarding this guy. He's always gonna be a legend, and also one of my favorite commentators ever. So, and he's great on that brand.
Yeah, and he is one of the head legends with guys like William Regal and Matt Bloom and everyone working at the NXT Performance Center to train these guys to become beast and champions, and that's what Booker has done. I've heard he specifically worked with Trick Williams a lot. He worked with Trick a ton to get that man in shape and let that man become a champion. And what happened? He became his own star. He's a future guy that's going to be on the main roster that surprises the whole world, and his ceiling is so high. So, that's the Booker work with Booker T. So, I kind of get why Booker T wants to stay in NXT and continue his coaching. He obviously has his company, Reality of Wrestling, his wrestling school. He's got guys like Zilla in the realm right now. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. So I respect why Booker, even if he got handed an opportunity to go back to the main roster, which I think WWE would love to give him that, he might say no, I want to stay in NXT. I want to do my own thing, and I respect that.
Yeah.
So maybe Corey feels like he didn't get that choice. And again, not everyone can get that choice, unfortunately. It's just kind of how the business is. But you take what you have and you run with it. And that's why I respect Corey so much. When he did all of that, he took what he had and ran with it. Even after losing his injury, he took it and ran with it. He hit the commentary booth and ran with it for so many years, and still going to this day.
Yeah.
Now,
hopefully,
now
if it continues.
It's up in the air.
Hopefully, if it continues.
It's up in the air. They are still keeping eyes on the story. We don't have an update right now, but I'm assuming in the next couple of days we'll get an update. What's going on there? If he met with WWE officials or whatever the case is. Yeah. We got to figure out what's next with Corey. Because if Corey just basically kind of brushes this off and just goes back to NXT, he's going to be fine. But if he doesn't brush it off and it still lingers, then WWE unfortunately might have to do discipline, which is what we don't want to do, which is either discipline or potentially a firing or release. And we do not want that to our stars. Don't want that whatsoever.
Especially to our commentators, too.
Let's hope it doesn't get there. But again, this is the early stages, so we'll see what happens, but that's kind of the context right now. It's Corey Graves unhappy with commentary. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what we hear from sources and everything as we go along, and we'll kind of see what's next for Corey. Because again, it can go the right way, and he just basically apologizes and everything, and then kind of focuses on NXT, and we have no issues. Yeah. But again, it could go left, where potential disciplinary, potential suspension, or potentially even a release, a firing, which would be very surprising, but also, again, Corey might do it to himself. So Corey has to be very careful with what his next move is, because WWE don't play when it comes to complaints like that. They do not play around.
It's looking pretty, pretty interesting, but at the same time, pretty concerning. That's what it is at the moment.
Yeah, pretty concerning, I would say. Yeah. But yeah, those are reactions to the whole Corey Graves thing. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to start with that because that was the big thing that everyone was talking about. What happened with Corey Graves?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, without further ado, let's get to the Raw reactions. Let's get to the main reason why we're here. The second episode of Raw on Netflix, live from San Jose, California, the home of Bayley. So, let's do it. So, we started off hot. We started with the Second City Saint, CM Punk. He's here to talk about his victory against Seth Rollins and what are the next steps in his future with what he's going to be doing next. We're all wondering, what is Mr. CM Punk going to be doing next? Especially after a fantastic victory against Seth Rollins in a great Netflix main event in California last week. I thought it was a great match.
Great match. Great first match.
Really was. It was fantastic. So basically Seth Rollins fell short to Punk. Looked like Rollins had the match won, and Seth made just a small mistake, and Punk took advantage of it. Punk hit 2 GTSs and got the victory, just barely. Like he looked like he was exhausted.
And not only that though, but this was clean, a clean victory.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely clean. Seth disrespected Punk twice. He did 2 GTSs and Punk still kicked out or hit the ropes. And then finally it took 2 extra GTSs to finally finish
from Punk.
Mr. Rollins off.
Yeah.
Damn. Crazy. But so Punk obviously making his entrance, basically signing autographs for the people and everything. He even grabbed some Yeet glasses, which was funny. And then he hits in the ring. So basically Punk starts off saying it feels good to be alive on Monday night in San Jose or what, basically hyping up the crowd. He basically speaks about there was a lot of pressure on Netflix with the debut last week, and he basically said the straight-edge superstar beat the Messiah, Seth Rollins. Punk has a lot of things on his plate, but Rollins isn't one of them anymore in his mind. He feels like he got Rollins on the back burner. He's moving on to something else.
And also, he also shouted out the LA Fires. We're with you, we're with you, LA.
We're with you.
Big home from me personally. All
many,
love and
humongous home.
Hope I come back there one day and show more love and experience why LA is a beautiful city and hopefully y'all recover.
No, generally, and I didn't even tell Mandy this. I actually went to the Red Cross on the website, and they were taking donations. I actually donated a little money to the cause, so
Oh,
I donated a little money to them. I gave them, I think, like $20. So
good.
you
Wow.
use that money, get some food, get some shelter, get these people safe, because these wildfires, these natural disasters are, oh my goodness, something else. I was in one of them. I was in Hurricane Sandy. Luckily, I didn't get hit too bad, but my whole backyard gate was destroyed, and I could
Yeah.
understand the pain of going through these natural disasters, trying to rebuild after all these fires and everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
so any little
I
money
mean,
from anyone that
yeah.
donates, any type of money that you donate to the Red Cross or any donation fund that helps out is always a good cause. So it's always a good thing to donate when you can, because it helps a lot of people out. It helps a lot of people out that, need food or clothes or something just to survive. So I feel for those people. I really do. So I had to do my part and donate. So I did donate some money to the Red Cross. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're with you, LA. Prayers to LA.
Yes,
Prayers
we're
to
with
LA
you.
and what they're going with you. So back to the task at hand. So yeah, basically
Yes.
after he shoutouts the fire, he gets back to Seth Rollins talking about basically he's in the rear mirror. Last year at the Royal Rumble, it was his first televised match in WWE over a decade ago. That's insane to think about. That
Yeah.
is his first televised
Almost
match.
7 to 8 years ago, close to a decade, and yeah, it was just so much hype going to Punk winning it. We thought Punk was winning it, close to maybe Cody, but eventually Cody was able to once again win the Royal Rumble again and eliminate CM Punk, but because of injury.
Yeah, and this is where Punk goes into it. So
Yeah.
Punk basically goes in and says, basically, in over a decade, it didn't go his way. Even his triceps separated from the bone. Punk's dreams, which were always scary to people he couldn't see him. Shout out Cena. He couldn't see them anymore. Punk does the John Cena "You Can't See Me" chant. Yes, he does. Crowd isn't shocked. A lot of people don't see the neon sign saying WrestleMania hanging in the crowd, but he sees it. So basically, he walks up to the ropes and he shows where the sign would probably be for WrestleMania. Which, if you guys know about neon, they're going to Vegas this year. This is a big city WrestleMania this year. Going to one of basically my home football stadiums, the Allegiant Stadium, humongous, massive new football stadium in Vegas, right in the smackdown in downtown. Yeah, Vegas is going to be really fun this year. I'm looking forward to WrestleMania this year. So yeah, he talks about the WrestleMania sign and everything like that. He does like the "You Can't See Me" and everything, sends a message to John. And then basically, but then he sees it. Punk makes his biggest setback his biggest comeback, in his words. Speaking of comebacks, the man who famously said, "Can't see him," John, Punk sees him and always has. Punk has seen that Cena declared himself for the Royal Rumble. But Punk is here to also do that. And then Punk basically says Punk will throw 29 other superstars over the top rope whether you can see him or not. Then, as he basically is saying, "Hit my music in living color," all you hear is "Burn it down." All you hear is Seth Rollins' music. Seth freaking Rollins has arrived, and he is in no mood to jant around or anything like that. He is here to talk business. So, and basically Punk does like the most funniest frustration, and he even says in the mic, you can clearly hear the audio too, "Why couldn't it have been Rhea Ripley?" I'm like, Punk,
That was funny.
You were calm for that. I was like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
Was funny. No.
So,
but we did see this coming. We did see that Seth Rollins and this feud is far, far, far from over.
No, far from over. Punk can say all the things he says basically and say, I basically won the match. And he's right. He does have every right to say, I don't have to fight this guy. He's got a point. But again, Seth is that kind of guy where he's like, I'm going to bring the pressure. I'm going to bring the pressure, and I'm going to pressure you to getting what the hell I want. And that's another match with you. Also, we thought. But then Seth continued. So Seth basically starts rumbling on about basically Punk's victory and everything. and just talking about, again, how he just does not like him at all. Just tons of hatred here. Just hatred on hatred on hatred going on. But this is the point where I was like, basically, Seth is going out for blood at this point.
Yeah.
Seth basically, acknowledges that Punk, basically said, I'm going into the Rumble. I'm going into the Rumble. I'm going to try to win this whole thing and finally get my dream of headlining, main eventing WrestleMania for the world title. Yeah. That's what Punk wants. But Seth is like, I'm more of a dream crusher. I crush dreams. I crush your dreams.
He basically said that I'm going to basically throw your ass over and crush those dreams once again.
Again. And then basically he's going to play spoiler. He's basically going to be like... So he basically does the most pettiest thing you could ever do in history. He enters himself into the Royal Rumble already in a stacked lineup with Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, and now Seth Rollins.
And here's the other thing that Punk said. He said that it's funny how you had to try to eliminate me because you couldn't beat me straight up. So he said something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it was a burn. It was a burn.
It was just a burn and a half. It was a burn and a half. So Rollins basically finishes and says, I will be entering the Royal Rumble to spoil your dreams and break your dreams. So basically you can get what you want. That's what Rollins is saying.
Yep.
But then shit gets even crazier because all we hear is Drew McIntyre's music. So Drew McIntyre, who has mad history with these two, hater number 1 to hater number 2, Mr. Drew McIntyre.
And it wasn't even just that though. When I heard his theme song, I was like, oh my god, bro. Oh my god, this is gonna be interesting.
The 3 dudes that generally hate each other all equally. Kind of insane, all in the ring. So Drew comes out and basically starts really down everything that Punk has been saying and speaks about what's next for him. So Drew basically music hits. Punk shouts, "You've got to be kidding me!" I don't blame you, Punk, in this case. McIntyre stays on the stage, and then McIntyre begins to speak. McIntyre says they're both self-serving. Punk says the last time he saw McIntyre, he was on his knees with tears in his eyes, bleeding on the mat, and pleading for his life. Damn, Punk. I mean, you're not wrong though. I mean, shit.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Make that man bleed. If McIntyre takes one more step, I'll take more than 50 staples to close that wound.
Yeah, no, he says he's gonna take more than 15 or 16 staples to close that wound.
Take more than 50 staples that wound. McIntyre says it might be a shock to you, Pug, but he wasn't talking to him. He was talking to Rollins. Rollins says Punk's invitation is now his invitation. He'll stomp Drew McIntyre's head into the mat. McIntyre says he should feel they're looking in a mirror. The only difference is Punk admits he's a big piece of crap. Fuck it. Hell, bro.
And Punk says, you know what? Punk says it's crash out season. Let's fight. I don't give a fuck. Let's just go.
Is crash out.
Which one of y'all want to fight? Let's go.
Yeah, so McIntyre says Rollins acting like a big leader, but when everyone knows he's doing his part in the tribal combat, Rollins was nowhere to be seen. It's a factual statement. Rollins was worried about his self-agenda in his little match. Then he lost the match. It's pathetic, Drew McIntyre says. Rollins says he has no patience for McIntyre. Punk says he has no patience for Rollins and McIntyre. Punk is out of time, and if one of those jerks want to swing, he's right here.
Yeah,
he's
let's
ready
go.
to
Crash
throw
out season.
Hands.
Crash
ready
out
to
season.
throw hands. That is what you call a crash out. Crash out season is... Crash Out 2025 is already beginning to a fantastic start. Yeah. And it looks like they're about to throw hands, and McIntyre's about to hit the ring, and then McIntyre says no. McIntyre's a smart guy. He's like, no, I don't need to be involved in this. You know what? I'm gonna wait my time. I'm gonna wait until I get my hands on you.
And I'm gonna say this though. Once these 3 face off in the middle of the ring, this will be exactly, I repeat, exactly my reaction.
I prayed for this and it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, gently, because then Drew basically alludes, kind of in a way, almost a teaser almost, basically suggests a triple threat match. McIntyre has the ring before asking why would he ever do that, but again, he put it out in the world. When you put something out in the world, people want it. So the triple threat match could be in the cards at some point, and we're probably gonna get a preview at that at the Royal Rumble, because after he finishes all that, he's like, there's gotta be a match where I can not only break your dreams and crush your dreams, but there's gotta be a match where I can get back to the World Heavyweight Championship with tossing 29 other men over the top rope. He's like, oh yeah, there is a match. The Royal Rumble. So what does Drew do? Well, the smart thing. He says, I'll see you at the Royal Rumble. So confirming he is another name in the hat of the Royal Rumble names already. Holy shit, this list is stacked. Let me just re-go over this list. John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and now Drew McIntyre. That's 4 of basically the biggest dudes in WWE in one Rumble. Holy shit. What the fuck? God, this Rumble in Indy is insane.
And who knows? And, which, we agree on, bro, that this is probably going to be the most unpredictable Royal Rumble in the last few years, I would say.
Dude, this is going to be the craziest Rumble. Like, if you were able to get Cena, Roman, Seth, Punk, and Drew McIntyre all healthy at 100% in the Rumble, bro, you winning at that point. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
We're eating good.
Oh my goodness.
We're eating good.
Oh my goodness. We are 100% eating good. 100%. But yeah, that's the end of the segment. Holy shit, what an opening segment. Just like
it was. I would say definitely segment of the night.
God.
I would say.
Yeah, seriously, a fantastic segment. Awesome stuff. Then they showed, obviously they always do this, they show like pre-show arrivals, like they show later on Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria for the IC title. Rivals like Chad Gable with American Made and stuff like that. So now let's get to the big reason why. Well, yes, that promo in the beginning was one of the bigger reasons why everybody was so excited for Raw. Let's get to the other reasons. So Chad Gable last week, we talked about this a little bit on the Netflix debut. He challenged the best luchador in the world to a singles match. And Adam Pearce basically said, you're crazy, but if you want this match, I can give it to you. Because I know the exact guy to do it. So he goes and makes a phone call. At first, again, we've seen vignettes of a certain man that has made his appearance. But again, at the time, we didn't know it was going to happen. So then the day gets closer. And I haven't even, by the way, this is going to be outside of when we get to the actual debut, because WWE kind of jumped the gun a little bit. So around, I want to say noontime, Eastern time, my time, WWE's shop went live with new merch. And it is actually the guy that's going to fight Gable. They kind of gave it away, which they kind of did the same thing with Motor City Machine Guns. I'm not surprised. But they revealed merch and mask. And when I say mask, I mean basically one of the best luchadors in the world. Penta is now WWE bound. They put a bunch of shirts up, a bunch of masks, and you can buy it. I even bought my own shirt. You're allowed to buy merch. So Penta basically confirmed he is coming. And this was way before Raw. This didn't even happen until Raw then. At that point, we're like, oh, they put Penta merch. Penta's on the way. He's going to be coming tonight. So, yeah, crazy. So then we get to the actual entrance, and this was easily an incredible way to enter Penta into this. So Penta basically, Chad Gable comes out, he cuts a promo while commercials are going on about, basically beating the best luchador and everything, and saying he doesn't regret anything and everything like that. But then we come back from commercial, and the lights go down, and it's time. Lights go down, this incredible rock music just starts playing, echoing through the arena, and then all you hear is Cero Miedo, and then all you see is fire, you see a mask, you see a man, and that man is Penta. Penta has arrived in WWE, and he looks fantastic. Has a brand new mask, brand new attire, and the San Jose crowd goes ballistic for Penta. Great reaction for Penta from the San Jose crowd. There's a lot of Penta masks in the crowd. There was even a San Francisco 49ers mask in the crowd as well, and it's in by George Kittle. So just all Penta support in this match. This was all love for Penta. And I love the presentation. I love the way they enter him. He looked like a badass. It looked so good. Just the idea that Penta was even on Raw is just a crazy statement to say. But what happened? He was on Raw. He was on Raw, and he competed with Chad Gable for 15 minutes. And that fucking match was fantastic. Holy shit, what a fucking match. again, I'm not surprised. Again, I've been with Penta for so long at this point. I've been with Penta since the get-go. I've been with Penta for so long. So I knew when WWE signed him, they got a good one in him. It's just crazy that he looked like he was going to be, you know, an indie guy or an all-elite guy for almost the rest of his career.
Yeah,
but then as he started hitting almost near 40, we hear rumblings. Penta potentially wants to check his options. Might still want to go elsewhere. Wants to see what else is out there. And then WWE gets in the conversation. We're like, oh, Penta to WWE? That's an interesting idea. That could be interesting. And then we start hearing he gets out of his contract. It expires. And now it seems like it's in motion. Then we see the merch. Then we see the mask. Now we're starting to get rolling, and then they do the entrance, and I'm like, holy shit, Penta's actually in WWE. This is fucking crazy. And basically Penta pulls out all the classics. He pulls out all the classics and a couple unique stuff, a new arsenal. But he pulls out so many things that would get the crowd fucking hype. And by the way, I do want to, again, like I said, this is all about Penta and everything, but I want to give my flowers to Chad Gable. Oh my god, Chad Gable was the perfect opponent for Penta. That dude Chad Gable's elite. That dude Chad Gable is elite. Yeah. Like, I can't even call him underrated anymore. He's elite. That's it. He's just elite, bro. Like, get that man a title.
To be honest,
consensus, bro.
To be honest, though, regarding Pentagon, I never would have thought in a million years that this man would be coming to WWE. In a million years.
No, me either.
Because the last time he was in WWE, well, not in WWE, the last time he was even on WWE, on Netflix, I mean, not WWE, but on Netflix. Was during Lucha Underground, while they were formerly on Netflix as well. So, you know, there's, you know, no stranger to Pentagon being on Netflix.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
So, it was shock.
It was just genuinely shock, but before I continue with Penta, I want to give my flowers to Chad Gable. Dude, he is like the perfect opponent for Penta. He not only made Penta really good, even though I could tell Penta had some nerves, there's a few botches here and there, but again, it's nerves, so it's going to happen. He's going to get used to it, no problem. It's a fresh start for Penta. But I think Penta's going to be just fine. He went for a cool little leg drop, kind of botched it, but still recovered nicely. Gable was hitting his classic German suplexes that looked really nice. He even took Penta's like dive to the outside. It looked like a nasty landing, but it was insane. And then Penta does like this really cool Hurricane Rana in the corner that basically he rolls over, hits the Hurricane Rana, and then he does basically the move of the night that everyone is still buzzing about. The Mexican Destroyer, that's what WWE's calling it. The Canadian Destroyer is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he hit that thing clean. They hit that right in front of Chad Gable, and that crowd popped crazy for it. I even popped. I was like, oh my god, he just hit a fucking Mexican Destroyer. What is happening? Like, what the fuck is happening? So he hits the Mexican Destroyer, and just incredible. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And guess what? Even WWE, who's been opening up recently with the pile drivers, have let Penta keep the Penta driver, the made in Japan. They let him keep it. I was like, wow, they let him keep the Penta driver. And it looked super clean. He hit it on Gable. It looked insane. And he got the 1, 2, 3. And Penta won his debut in front of his people. His family was in the front row. His daughter, his wife, all crying, very happy for him. And everything.
Oh yeah, no, beautiful moment after epic match.
Such a great moment.
Very beautiful.
Such a great moment. Even his Cero Miedo chant was buzzing. Everybody was doing it. Like, you could tell WWE was really smart to wait to let Penta debut in a home that is a good market, and that's San Jose. Because he's known in San Jose, like in general, like people know him in San Jose. For so long, he's been there for so many years for the 49ers and everything. Like, he's been there before. So to do his WWE debut in front of that crowd was the perfect idea. That's like the way to do it. So, good job on WWE. Fantastic work. Like I said, I think they did an incredible job on the merch. I thought the mask idea, that that should have been done years ago, where people can buy an affordable mask, because masks go for expensive. Me and Manny had this conversation after Penta's debut, how expensive a Penta mask is, or a Luchador mask. It's very expensive to buy. Like, I saw some running for like 100, 200 minimum. So the fact that WWE has a very cheap $75 mask that's about $80 tax, that's very cheap for a mask and very affordable. So people can go in the crowd and have a sick-ass Penta mask for cheap. So kudos on WWE for doing that idea, because for some reason other companies, when they had Penta, they never did masks. Penta had to do his own mask and sell them separately, which is kind of a crazy thought. But yeah, no, you can buy a Penta mask now. His new mask that he debuted on Raw and Netflix, you can buy that mask. You can buy it. And you can buy it and bring it to the shows and wear it and just be a Penta supporter. So it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool when I saw that. Really awesome stuff. And
the merch is, amazing. That's all I can say. The merch was exactly amazing.
100%, 100%. Yeah,
and I think personally that can definitely outsell. I would say that could possibly outsell even Jay's, Yeet shirt. Who knows? But from just the reaction of that crowd towards Penta, I mean, there's nothing else to really say. I mean, it was something.
Has something incredible in Penta. Yeah, like
it was incredible.
Like it was crazy, and I'm so excited for not only next week, but I'm so excited what is next for Penta. What is going to be his first program? What's his first feud? That's what I want to know, because Penta, again, a guy, and there have been ideas thrown out, but I'll at least throw this one out here. Again, also during the night, Ray did acknowledge Penta and talked about how he's been envisioning this for years and years, and now he's finally here. But again, nothing too crazy. But it wouldn't surprise me if, say for the New Day, let's say for instance, and Ray needs a quick partner, even if it's just like a one-off. Surprise me if Penta steps up and says, "Hey, I respect Ray. I'll step up." Again, he don't have to be LWO. Again, I know a lot of people were worried it was going to be LWO.
Yeah.
I'm still not worried about that. I'll get worried if Ray offers him a shirt. Then at that point, I'm like, he's going to LWO. But if that doesn't happen, then I think Penta doing a one-off with Ray, it's okay with me. It's fine. It's fine with me. Him doing a one-off tag match to help him with the New Day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's okay to me.
It could happen. Right. And to be honest, I do see that that's a lot of concern lately. But in a way, at the same time, it's not. I mean, people thought that Andrade was probably going to go to LWO, but eventually he didn't. Because he didn't need to.
No.
Even though you could see it in him, but no. He has his own character, and I think Pentagon will have the same with him. He will have his own character and his own identity outside of LWO.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, he's Mexican at the end of the day. I'm sure he supports LWO at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
But it is not his personality.
No.
So, let's not be too hasty just yet. Let's give this time to develop and see where it goes.
He just got here.
Yeah.
Ray acknowledged him, but Ray was more focusing on the New Day skin of what the New Day's been saying.
Yes, yes.
And never ending. So, but to wrap up on Penta's debut, I thought it was a perfect debut. I thought wrestling-wise,
probably one of the best debuts I've seen in a while.
It really was. It was really well done. It was fantastic. The way that the presentation was excellent. That's how you debut a world-class Mexican wrestler. Like, that is how you do it. And Penta had a really emotional promo, and he went a little longer than expected. But again, like I said, there's no heat. There's no heat between him and WWE. The roster understood. It was a big moment for Penta. They gave him all the time in the world. Even if some had to get cut, there was no heat. That was more of a rumor. There was no heat on Penta. It's just more of a thing of he went long because again he wanted to have say all the words.
He was excited.
He was emotional.
Excited, and he got out of a very toxic situation by AEW, especially with Ray Phoenix was going on with his brother. Now over there with that bullshit. Hopefully they either negotiate a shorter term for his release, or he'll just have to wait the rest of the year. But they're not really doing nothing with him, and it's sad, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
the end of the day, you know, hope Ray gets out of it, but at the same time, you know, let's be happy for Pentagon. Finally in WWE, finally in the big wrestling show, and he's going to show the world why he's been one of the best, not only luchadors of the world, but probably one half of the greatest tag team of all time in the Lucha Bros, but also one of the best wrestlers of this generation today.
One thing that makes me really excited for Penta is sometimes when someone outside of WWE goes to WWE, they can kind of get watered down and not as good as they once were. With Penta, I don't see any watering down at all. He's got the look, he's got the moveset, and he even did like the little walk when he does the entrance. Like he did the nice little walk as like kind of like slow walk he did in AEW that was so clean. Like I was like he's doing everything Penta.
And even more so, you know, what made his character, you know, special. He has his own style, his own motion, his own flow, everything.
Yeah. And WWE said, you know what? Don't broke what's fixed. Just keep it.
Yeah.
But just elevate and give it more presentation. Just give him like more pyro, more presentation, so he looks amazing. And my God, they did a fantastic job. And again, like I said, I'm going to Raw in March. If that's the entry we're getting on Raw, bro, I'm gonna be so fucking excited if Penta wrestles that day. Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
You know what? One last hand clap to Penta and WWE for the epic debut.
Yes. Yeah.
And hopefully,
100%.
you know, for the future, more in the future.
Yeah, and as Penta said in his opening close, it is a new era, but it is now the new Penta era. He's right.
Yep.
He's right. It's time for Penta to fly and really show why he should have been in WWE years ago. But I'm very happy he's here now because he's someone that WWE, if they use him right, oh my God, it could do wonders. It could do absolute wonders. So I can't wait to see what's next for Penta.
Oh, definitely.
So then we had backstage, we had a Judgment Day Clubhouse kind of segment. I'll go through this one real brief so we get to the next match. But real brief, it was basically Finn Balor and Liv Morgan speaking for the first time after Liv Morgan losing her women's championship to Mommy, Rhea Ripley, the Eradicator. Then from there, get a little bit of a love thing with Dom, but again, he's getting punished due to Dom kinda talking to Rhea and then getting low blowed in the balls, which is well deserved. He tried to basically leave Liv high and dry. This is basically what I'm trying to say. And Mommy said, no, I'm not making that mistake again. So he gets a low blow for his troubles and a riptide. So after that happens, Liv basically kind of almost in a pretending way, I'm not mad. But even in her head, I'm like, nah, she's mad. So what does she do for Dom? She says, go get my bags, get the chauffeur ready, and basically said, you're my bitch, and you're basically gonna get my bags. Oh, and Raquel's too. Don't forget about Raquel's. Yeah, well. And Dom also tried to present Liv with roses. Liv liked the roses, but again, kind of in a pretentious way. I'm still mad at you. So Dom had to go get her bags. Dom had to set up the chauffeur for both Raquel and her, and basically left after that. Then once they left, Dom basically talks to Finn, and Finn's like, you sure you got this all handled out? He's like, I'm not even sure if I do. And Finn's like, you got a lot to learn. And go get her bags. So Dom leaves, goes get her bags, and then it's Finn, Carlito, and JD in the room. And Finn is, because again, Finn's in the main event, he's gonna fight Priest in a street fight. He's basically preparing for that. But then Finn basically said, once I'm done with Damian Priest, I want us to go after our tag titles. So what does JD do? JD says, alright, good idea. I'm gonna go to Adam Pearce and basically say all the things I just said and go talk to Pearce and try to get a tag title match. Specifically. And Carlito goes with them, of course. So then basically, that's basically the end of the segment. It's basically just like a quick little, Judgment Day trying to get back on the same page after losing basically all of their gold. Basically, is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah. So that happens. there. So a quick little segment, nothing too crazy, very simple story, simple stuff there. When we get back from commercial, it's time for our next match. It is Ludwig Kaiser versus Sheamus. So this is a rivalry been going on for a little bit, especially during Survivor Series. Survivor Series, they had a banger triple threat match with Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion. And Sheamus was one pin away from beating Braun Breaker, but then Ludwig Kaiser pulled the ref. Sheamus was not very happy. So what happens then? Sheamus tries to go after Ludwig and gets beat up to hell with a freaking shillelagh and breaks Sheamus's ribs in storyline. But breaks his ribs, basically. And Sheamus is off TV for a couple weeks. Then Sheamus goes back on TV right before Netflix. He gets back on TV, attacks Ludwig Kaiser, and sends a message of basically, we're not done yet. I still got some beef with you. So then it leads to this match. Ludwig Kaiser versus Sheamus on Monday Night Raw. Again, like I said, this rivalry's been going on for a while, but there's a specific name watching in the crowd, and that is Braun Breaker. Yeah, Braun Breaker not competing tonight. He has not competed on Netflix yet, but he's been in promotional, he's been in promos, he's been around. He's been around with the IC title, watching Sheamus very closely, and you can see him in the crowd in the front row watching Sheamus' match against Ludwig Kaiser. But here are some kind of notes that I took away from this match. Ludwig Kaiser is, I believe, a future Intercontinental Champion. I think this guy is a brilliant heel. He's very bitter, but he's got like a very punchable face. That's what you want in a heel. His promo style is very professional, but also very vicious. His promos are fantastic. And his in-ring work is very good. He's a great moveset. He's great in the ring. Him as an IC champion could be a really intriguing run. Especially since they tried it with Gunther, aka Walter, and it worked out in the end. So doing a potential title change with Ludwig in the future, I think, is a cool idea. Even though personally I would want Sheamus to win the IC title. But I think it'd be a cool idea if they don't go the Sheamus route and go, say, the Ludwig route. I think it's not a bad idea. That's one note I took away from this. Another note I took away from this, Sheamus, even for his age, that dude is still elite in the ring. He's still very good.
Probably one of the most underrated workers, in my opinion.
Yes. He says it every day. Banger after banger. Nothing more. Nothing more there. And another thing I noted, their chemistry is unmatched. I think those two work so well together. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty great stuff how they work together. I think Sheamus and Ludwig really, really have great chemistry. Kind of that European hard striking style. They're very good at it. They're very good at it. And a couple things I took for the match. Ludwig hit a really cool drop kick near the commentary table with a chair. Just a beautiful drop kick into the barricade. Sheamus was doing his heavy strikes, like the 10 beats of the Baron, big clotheslines, big axe handles, big slams, but just like a lot of power. While Ludwig was kind of being technical, trying to target the limbs, tried to target the ribs, try to do submissions, try to unbalance Sheamus when he's going for his power moves. But Sheamus was very good at countering those things specifically. So that's why I love this duo so much, and I love the combination of chemistry that these guys have, because it is really something else. It's great work, really. So kudos to Sheamus and Ludwig.
And seriously. You know, I think that, you know, after this past year, I mean, Ludwig has shown potential that he can be a single star, that he can be a future champion in the books. And, you know, he's just done phenomenal. And I mean, I've grown into a very big Ludwig Kaiser fan, you know, because I can see him as champion.
Yeah.
I can see him as champion.
Yeah,
whether if he leaves Gunther or not, you know. But we'll see what happens. But
yeah, that's also the unique thing about it. Like, if Ludwig leaves Gunther and becomes his own version, man, championship success is still in his window. He doesn't really need Gunther to go for gold. And Gunther's even told him this on many accounts. Like, Ludwig, go do something for yourself. Don't just help me. Go do something for yourself. You need to show that you are an Imperium member for a reason. And Ludwig, even though he hasn't won a championship yet, has shown that. When he needs to, you know, when he needs to get a big win, or he needs to get gritty and kind of like, you know, deep in his, you know, bag of tricks, he's done that. And he's had great matches, funny enough, with Braun Breaker and everybody else on the roster He's fought guys like Sami Zayn and people like that, and he just continues to improve. It's crazy how much Ludwig continues to improve as a wrestler, and him and Sheamus is gonna be a really like fun road as we get to Breaker and everything. When these two meet Peace Paths again, because I can see these three moving paths once again, and everything like that. So basically, after Ludwig Kaiser basically looked like he was gonna go for that very kind of fancy DDT he does, but he gets reversed. He also goes for the kick in the corner, but also gets reversed into obviously the Sheamus specialty, the bro kick. Hits a beautiful bro kick, and Sheamus gets a big win on his Netflix debut. He gets a big win, and he goes immediately to Braun Breaker and says, "I want a rematch." And Breaker at first like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, old man?" Because Breaker's got like that kind of like badass attitude of like old school. He's like a very old school kind of guy. Really love Braun Breaker. And then they had to basically get security because it looked like they shoved each other. Breaker shoves Sheamus, and Sheamus is about to 240-pound dude about to go after Breaker, and then they had to break it up. They had to get a bunch of security, and they had a breakup potential. It could have turned into a brawl. Braun Breaker gets sent to the back while Sheamus watches Braun Breaker closely. So then after that happens, we get our first announcement for a show that I've not talked about on the podcast yet, and I probably will in the future. Saturday night's main event. Yes, me and Manny did watch the return to Saturday night's main event. I know we didn't talk about it because we didn't start the podcast at the time, but we watched the one with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens in the main event with Jesse Turner. We did watch all that. Okay? I just want to note, we have experience with Saturday night's main event. We did that. And it was a really cool old school kind of night. They had like 3 matches or so. And it was really fun. I had a blast watching Saturday night's main event. Again, kind of that old school vibe. Well, they're doing it again in San Antonio this time, right before the Royal Rumble. So on January 25th, I believe they said, they're going to be doing it. And they announced some fantastic matches. And this is one that I was like, bro, this is an absolute banger in the making. The rematch for the Intercontinental Championship, as Sheamus will be taking on and trying to take the title from defending Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker, the dog. So, yeah, when they announced that, I was like, yep, I know what I'm doing on January 25th, watching Saturday night's main event. And hey, we might even give a review for that if you guys want. We might do that. But, yeah, so just want to say they announced Sheamus and Braun Breaker's rematch at Saturday night's main event. But to finish up on this match, very good. These two are great in the ring, and I hope they continue their rivalry for years to come, because I really like these two in the ring. Their chemistry's really good.
Oh, yeah, no. They really, and, to finish it off, these guys are really great in the ring. They know what to do. They know what to attract the crowd, and they've done it before. At the end of the day, you cannot say that these two have chemistry and have one hell of a rivalry. Every time they step up on Raw, it's always a fight. It's always a banger, in the words of, Sheamus.
Of Sheamus,
so, it's definitely something to watch every time. And hopefully, either Sheamus or Ludwig become champion.
Oh, no, 100%. Sheamus, for me, I want him to become the Grand Slam. I want him to finish the set. I have a really nice IC title reign. For Ludwig, I think it'd just be kind of a cool experiment, a cool test. Have a heel, like, very old school heel kind of Ludwig, who's hated basically in, like, every single country except for his country of Germany, be a champion. I think that could be kind of a cool idea. So I think it'd be kind of cool. For me, at least 100%. So, yeah, we'll definitely see, especially since I will say I have definitely been enjoying the Braun Breaker experience as champion. That dude is elite as well. Oh my god, I love his work. And I'm excited for him to get to work on Netflix. He hasn't had a match yet on Netflix yet. But again, they announced his next match. It's at Saturday night's main event this month in January. So that's gonna be a fun card to talk about. That's gonna be a fun card to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. So but yeah, really awesome stuff. And Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus, just incredible work. Like, really awesome stuff. And all I can do is definitely appreciate it and everything. And good win for Sheamus too. Like, I'm really excited for their match there. So then we went backstage in a backstage segment. Kathy Kelly was catching up with Seth Rollins, and she basically mentioned in the words of Adam Pearce, the match is official. Next week, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins in a WrestleMania rematch. Yes.
Ooh, yes.
These two have not
Big
fought since
WrestleMania
WrestleMania.
Big WrestleMania
Yeah, the last time these two fought at WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre had the world title in his hands, but as we know, Damian Priest cashed in due to an interference from CM Punk on commentary because Drew got a little overzealous with his trolling and kind of fell on his face on the table. Punk hits him with a cast, rolls him in the ring. Priest hits a South to Heaven. Hello, new champion, Damian Priest. And we had that nice World Heavyweight title run with Damian Priest, so yeah, that happened. But now they're going to rematch. Now Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre will face again for the first time since WrestleMania. This should be a fun match. This will be next week on Raw on Netflix as we get closer to Saturday night's main event in Royal Rumble. Should be a hell of a match. So they announced that. But then as that's getting announced, Sami Zayn walks in. Yes, if you remember last week, Seth Rollins was very critical of Sami Zayn helping the Bloodline and helping, Roman get his Ula Fala back. So Seth was ruthless about everything. But basically Sami says, if rough week last week, saw your match with Punk, you lost. If you want to talk, I'm always available. But Rollins said it was a rough week, but it was great for Sami. And Sami was confused at first. And he said Rollins said his boy Roman has the Ula Fala back. Is Sami going to keep helping Roman, or will he help himself? As Rollins walks off and asks that question to Zayn, will he help himself, or will he basically continue to help Roman and basically own up to Roman while Seth is trying to destroy the Bloodline and destroy Roman's empire with Drew, basically, even though they're not really friends in this case. They just kind of have the same hatred in a way. So yeah, really interesting words from Seth as he continues to kind of crash out and boil over from the Punk match. Very interesting. So it should be interesting where that goes. So then basically Michael Cole announces that Pat McAfee will be on commentary once again for Saturday night's main event. So the commentary team will be Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. They'll be commentating the Saturday night's main event show like how they did in New York. But it'll be very interesting to see what kind of legend they get, 'cause they always get an extra legend. We'll see what kind of guest commentator.
Actually, it's sad for me to say it, but Hulk Hogan is the legend that's supposed to be coming back.
Hogan's doing commentary?
No, he's just coming back to the show. Unfortunately.
Yes, that's, yeah.
I hope it's not true, but technically it is.
We'll see what other legends are there. They always bring a lot of legends, so we'll see who else is there. Yeah. But again, I know Hogan's been all over the promotional and
Get rid of him, WWE. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, generally
get rid of him.
Like
no one cares.
Yep.
He's dead and buried. No one cares.
For real. Anyway,
wrestling wise, immortal. Other stuff, fuck him.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Anyway, backstage segment. So backstage segment, Karrion Kross exiting Adam Pearce's office, and basically the Miz is telling you, well, what's the next move? Apparently, and this was announced on Raw. I was not aware of this.
The biggest shocker, probably on Raw.
Biggest shocking trade of the trade portal, which, if you guys don't remember, like I said before, the trade portal is basically a week of trades where if stars think they have better value on Raw or SmackDown, they can request to go to the portal and request a trade. Basically, go to the other brand and try to start fresh. Like let Carmelo Hayes, for instance. He feels like he's getting undervalued, so what is he gonna do? He's probably gonna go to Raw and go to Netflix and have Melo on Netflix, which has a nice ring to it.
Yep.
Like obviously for other things like that, and we'll get more to the trade portal later in the night because there was a very interesting trade for the women's side. So we'll talk about that. But for this one, Karrion Kross basically confirmed that the Wyatt Six, the Wyatt Six, Bo Dallas, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, and Nikki Cross and Uncle Howdy are all going to SmackDown. They are getting away from the Final Testament.
Crazy.
I thought they were going to do one more little program with these guys and then figure out something else. But apparently, they feel
That's
like the
changed.
Wyatt Six are a little movable, and they moved them to a new brand. Now, this is a
Yeah.
very interesting move for the Wyatt Six because there are some names in there that Bray had some relationships with and some rivals. So it's a very interesting move because they could really tap into some really cool stories with the Wyatt Six on the Blue brand. Because there's a lot of names in there that are on the Blue brand that you could really do some cool feuds with.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting when the Y6 do reappear on TV, which we're still waiting for them to reappear on TV, and where they're going to go on SmackDown and what's next for them. So it's going to be interesting to see where Bo and his group goes and what's next for them. So something to keep in mind as we go along.
And here's the shocking thing about it. Bray Wyatt, the brother of Bo Dallas, rest in peace to him, was on SmackDown. He was the main one of the main stars on SmackDown. So in a way, this is a homecoming, let's just say, for the Wyatt Six.
No, it's a homecoming. Uncle Howdy worked with Bray on Raw, Bo specifically when he was just Uncle Howdy. Didn't even name it Bo Dallas, just Uncle Howdy. And he didn't have like the cool mask or anything yet. He was still kind of just a figure, kind of a guy. And when Sister Abigail LA Knight and everything like that, and Sister Abigail Bray, like that kind of stuff. He worked with Bray on Raw, on SmackDown. He worked with them on SmackDown, for Bray's return. It looked like they were going to do a program or something, and then we obviously know what happened. But again, it was going to be Uncle Howdy that was going to work with Bray. So it was very interesting to kind of see that kind of play out. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do with the Wyatts on SmackDown. We'll see what they do. That's going to be an interesting scenario.
Yeah.
But now back to Final Testament and The Miz. Cross is very angry. He warns The Miz that he's not better not having anything to do with that. Then Sami Zayn is about to step into the office, but Cross stops him, and The Miz mocks Sami Zayn for thinking he could be a world champion. And Zayn says he's going to ask for a match against The Miz because he was going to talk to Adam Pearce about himself, it seemed like. He was about to talk about some business for himself, go into himself, and maybe ask for a title match or see what could be next for me, what could I do on the brand situation. But that's going to be on hold because he wants to fight The Miz tonight. So we get that basically confirmed. Miz versus Sami Zayn, a match hasn't been seen in a while. That match is coming up later tonight. Then in the crowd we had Obafemi. Hello, NXT champion. He was in the crowd basically being shown off in LA because he was in the area. Hello Obafemi. Congratulations on the NXT championship. Good to see you. Now, on to my other favorite segment of the night. Gunther addressing the World Heavyweight Championship division. Gunther's debut on Netflix.
I was going to say before that also, after that, we got to talk about the Sami and Miz match because that was the next match.
Actually, no, Gunther was first.
Oh, okay, go ahead, my fault.
Sami and Miz was later.
Yes, my fault.
Yeah, so Gunther, ready to address the universe with the World Heavyweight Championship. So Gunther makes his entrance looking like a proud world champion with this suit and everything. But again, he hasn't had any matches on Netflix or anything. He had a little vignette on the debut episode of Raw, but nothing too crazy. The World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther says, last week was the debut of Netflix, and it was a monumental moment. He was impressed, but less impressed with the performances in the ring. Gunther wishes they could have had a roster that fulfills those high expectations. Everyone flying over personal drama. Who was the head of the table? Who was the best in the world? Who cares? The only prize worth fighting for is the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, it's not wrong. It's not wrong in that case, because you want the World Heavyweight Championship. So I kind of get where Gunther's coming from, even though the Ula Fala story was very personal in itself. So it's got a point. But then you hear Uso! Out comes main event Jey Uso to a massive reception, and everyone's like, oh, this is interesting. So, where do we stand with these two? Well, Jey Uso last time was in the feud with Gunther twice. First time, he fought for the Intercontinental Championship. He did not win. He fell short. He just barely lost to Gunther. Gunther kind of getting like almost a sneaky victory, fell short. But then the second time around, he just straight up lost to Gunther clean. He lost to Gunther clean, no interference. He lost to Gunther clean. Gunther straight up beat him, straight up and down, just beat him. The first time around, he had a little interference. The second time around, just barely lost to Gunther for the IC title. But that was the IC title. Now Gunther's the World Heavyweight Champion, the bigger prize. And Jey Uso, massive reception. Everybody loves Jey Uso. They love the Yeet Man. They love that man. So basically, it's a big reception. And Uso says, he basically says, Uso says he wants to step up to Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then he goes on a whole like a list of things. Drew McIntyre is behind him. Yeet. Bloodline family drama behind him. Yeet. And he's basically ready to now challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. So Gunther and Jey is set for Saturday night's main event. Very cool. So Gunther wants to make sure Uso is serious about this. Uso leads the crowd into shouting, Yeet. Gunther smirks and says he admits his courage. He'd be naive if he thought he could hold the title forever. But Uso's even more naive to think he could take it from him. Yeah, Gunther just basically breaking down, he's just fantastic on the mic. He just knows what he's saying. Gunther wants him to really understand this. They've wrestled for the Intercontinental title twice, like I said, and Gunther beat him twice. Very true. Uso is capable of a whole lot of less than Gunther is. Uso is funny and entertaining, but when the bell rings, Gunther will expose him for what he really is. And this is one of the burns of the night. A really talented tag team wrestler.
And the fact that Gunther wasn't even trying, I want to know what really he has in his mind when it comes to roasting everybody. Because bro, he doesn't even have to say a curse. He doesn't have to say bitch, ass, and all that. All he's gotta do is just say words.
Just say words. Just say
all he gotta do is
wants.
speak normal.
Yeah, he just to speak in his normal professional German voice, and he just roast everybody. He did the same to Goldberg, did the same to all the legends, did the same. Oh my god, oh my god. Goodness me. Yeah, so when I heard that, I was like, yikes. Uso isn't on his level. Main event is just a nickname for Uso. Ouch. Main event is placed in belongs to Gunther. Gunther tells him to stick to his yeet and stay out of the championship business. As everything goes away, Saturday night's main event, he says Saturday night's main event is fine with him, but the choice is up to Jey. So Gunther's about to walk off and Uso looks conflicted, but then Uso goes kind of into that old school Uso penitentiary and says, hold on, Uso. Uso respects Gunther. Everything Gunther said is true. This is Uso's words. Uso says he wakes up every morning betting on himself because he's still trying to earn that respect. And I was like, yes, this is the Jey I want to see. Get your respect, young man. You not attacked. I know you a tag team wrestler. You right? But get your respect. You've done it as a singles guy. Get your respect.
Yeah.
At Saturday night's main event, Gunther will respect him when he beats his ass for the World Heavyweight Championship. Uso leads the crowd a 1, 2, 3, yeet! And then that's it. That's literally the end of the segment. And then it's confirmed Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. And I believe that's like the main event. I think that's like... Yeah, I believe that's like the main attraction. I believe that's like one of the main matches that everybody's going to want to see. That'll probably be the main event. Yeah, no, a fantastic segment from Gunther. I just love his in-ring promo work. It's so good. It's so good. But shout out to Jey for holding himself up. Even though, Gunther had some crazy roast, he bounced back pretty quickly. He went back into that Uso penitentiary style kind of flow. Like, it really felt like a Jey. Like, the emotion. Like, you hear the emotion. Like, it's good. It's good stuff. When Uso gets emotional in singles feuds, that's why Uso is amazing when it comes to feuds. Like, you could criticize his wrestling being samey, and I get all that. But when it comes to promo, and storytelling and emotion, Jey Uso is that kind of guy where if you need emotion in the story, Jey Uso will give you that emotion. He will, again, like I said, he'll be entertaining, he'll be funny, he'll do all that. But when it gets down to business and it's personal, Uso can give you a lot of great storytelling with personal beef. So I'm really excited for this match. They haven't fought in a long time.
No.
This is going to be a really good match on Saturday nights. I'm very excited.
Yeah. And, the question is, Jey has lost, twice now to Gunther. One for the IC title and one for the world title. These guys have only fought in title matches, which is insane.
That is kind of a wild statement. Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Now, it's highly unlikely, but I still believe there might be a chance. But
there's a shot.
The question is, honestly, that's it. There's a shot that Jey could beat Gunther. But the question is, can the third time be the charm? Can he defeat an unbeatable Gunther right now?
Yeah, Gunther's back on an undefeated winning streak. You could say controversy with all these wins, and even Gunther has said he doesn't want to win by controversy. He wants to win clean.
No more.
Like he wants to be obviously a fighting champion, of course, a respectable champion, a sacred champion.
Yeah.
And still pick his spots when he wants to fight, but he wants to do it in a clean way. He doesn't want to be a guy that says, "Oh, he needs interference to win every time."
No.
Even though, again, like I said, the interference is not really his fault. He didn't call for interference. He didn't call down Finn Balor. He didn't call down this guy or this guy. No, he just, again, in the storyline term with Priest, Finn just got in the way. So Gunther, obviously, very mad at that. So now he's trying to prove himself, say, I can beat people clean. Because I think Gunther can keep people clean. It's just the way they've been doing the interference thing, he just hasn't had that opportunity. But now with Jey, he might have a chance to finally cement that he can win clean matches by himself. No Ludwig Kaiser, nothing at all. So, if he does that, that just continues to add to the list of names that Gunther's already beaten alone. So, it's going to be interesting on Saturday night's main event. But again, for Jey's side, again, it's a 50-50 shot. It's a 50-50 shot he could win this thing. But would I be surprised if they surprise us and he wins the thing? No, because especially with the energy and the momentum that Jey has going into 2025.
Because every time he steps in a room, every time he steps in an arena, fuck that. In an arena, you already know that fans will say yeet.
Like, people will go bananas for this guy. It's crazy how infectious he is. And again, like I said, you criticize moveset and everything, and I get that. But even with the moveset he's handed, brother, man could still give you a fantastic match. Like, the matches he had last year with guys like Braun Breaker and Gunther and guys like that, my God, it was some of his best work. Like, it was generally his best work. And then he goes back to the Bloodline and has a great War Games. And then goes to Bloodline to fight guys like Jacob. And he has a great match with Jacob on SmackDown. Like, you generally can't complain. Like, I get the whole moveset thing, but Jey is making it work no matter what. But
honestly, and I think that not only is he making it work, though, but, he just has aura. He just has that it factor right now.
And he really does.
And from the looks of it, that's not stopping for no one.
Yeah, and
no matter what anyone says.
Yeah, and it looks like WWE and Triple H understand that, so they seem like they're going to line up a great year for Jey Uso in 2025. He already had a great year in 2024. He won the IC title.
Yeah.
He put color into the IC title. Now the IC title has a globe on it.
First singles title in his entire career. Was a short reign.
He can do it.
But there's potential that Jey could win a world title by probably the end of the year.
He proved he can do it. He proved the Yeet Man could win the title. Now again, it's going to be a lot harder because again, Gunther is no joke. So it's not going to be easy by any means possible.
Yeah.
But there is a chance that Jey could win this thing and surprise the whole world before the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
It's a chance. It's a chance.
It's a shot.
It's low.
That's what I was saying.
It's a low chance.
Yeah.
But it is possible. I've seen crazier things. I've seen way greater. Like, I generally thought that night when Braun Breaker fought Jey the second time, I thought Braun Breaker was retaining. But no, they changed everything, and Jey Uso won the title that night, and I was like, holy shit. They actually gave Jey the title. I was like, Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I was shocked too.
Like, I was like, they literally gave it to the hot hand.
Didn't expect it, but excited for Jay that he finally won something
really
big.
was. I really was.
And one last thing though, before we move on, if you come at the King General, you best not miss.
You best not miss. Yeah. So we'll see if Jay misses. But yeah, that's another match confirmed for Saturday night's main event. They've confirmed 2 matches for Saturday night's main event. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental title, and Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title. 2 banger championship matches on Saturday night's main event. It looks like a champions night. So there's usually an extra like 3rd match. So we'll see what other match they have. But that's 2 already. That's 2 already for Saturday night's main event. And that card is coming up actually next Saturday. So
this
next
Saturday
week,
coming up.
Yeah, this Saturday coming up. Next week Saturday night's main event. So get ready for that. But yeah, really excited. Jey Uso Gunther feud. Hell yeah, I'm definitely here for it. All right, now time for some history. Next up, this was the shortest match on the card, but again, it did get a little cut for time. But this was a humongous match for the women. It's for the Women's Intercontinental Championship as Lyra Valkyria takes on Dakota Kai. This is a big match because the women have not had a mid-card in their career, if ever. The only other women's titles they've had is the tag titles and the North American Women's Championship now that was introduced just last year. So they haven't had any real mid-card in the main roster. But WWE finally stepped up to the plate and changed that. Chelsea Green is now holding the Women's US Championship, while we have now to crown this champion, either Lyra Valkyria or Dakota Kai. They had a tournament for it, and they went the distance. Even in the damage control side of it, Dakota Kai had to go through a lot, because originally she was going to be Lyra was originally supposed to be fighting Kairi, but Kairi got taken out by Pure Fusion Collection with Zoe Stark, so someone else took that spot. So now Io Sky took that spot, so now Io Sky was in the tournament, so it made the triple threat in the bottom a little more difficult to advance with a veteran like Io. And the tournament goes on for a few weeks. We get the semifinals, Lyra Valkyria versus Io, Dakota Kai versus Zoe Stark. Dakota clears, she gets through, she beats Zoe Stark in a very competitive match, and then we have the match of the tournament, Lyra Valkyria versus Io Sky. They had a great match at the Queen of the Ring semifinal. They did it again here. It was a fantastic semi. I thought those two were fantastic, but Lyra got through. I thought it was going to be Io versus Dakota, kind of in a damage control kind of, fight for the title, but no, they went Lyra Valkyria instead, and Lyra pinned Io Sky. Even if it was a very unique roll-up, she got it done. So now Lyra Valkyria takes on Dakota Kai for the IC Women's Championship on this card. And how was the match itself? It was okay. I thought it was okay.
It was a pretty good match. No, it was a really fun match. Yeah.
It was alright. It was alright. Was it the weakest match in the tournament? No, I thought there was weaker ones that were a little weaker than this. But I think it got a little cut for time. I think it felt pretty short. It felt short. I'm assuming after Penta went a little long, they kind of had to cut some things out. And unfortunately, the women didn't get as much time as I thought they would. But for what the time they were given, Dakota Kai and Lyra put on a solid showing. They had an epic suplex spot in the beginning of the match that looked nasty. Great counters from Lyra Valkyria with her pinning with Dakota. Dakota with the great striking and everything. I really liked how Dakota was really on the striking end. I thought it was really fantastic. I really liked that situation there. And like I said, in-ring wise, when it comes to both of these women, I love both of them equally. I think Dakota has a slightly better promo, I think, than Lyra. But even with Lyra's work in the ring, her in-ring work is really good. Her in-ring work when she fights women is fantastic. Her moveset is really cool. And I like the idea of Lyra Valkyria. So when I heard Lyra was in the final, I was like, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but it's not a bad choice in the end. I was like, you know what? It's not a bad choice. But obviously, my heart was pulling for Dakota. I had Dakota winning this because after everything she's been through and all the injuries and everything, it was the perfect opportunity to give Dakota the title. Unfortunately, they didn't go that route. They went the other route. They went Lyra Valkyria winning the women's IC title and being the first and inaugural IC women's champion. Didn't expect this. I was going Dakota all the way. Again, am I mad at it? No, I'm not mad at it because maybe, and I said this to Manny in the review after we finished Raw, talking about this. Maybe to get Lyra a little more attention and maybe a little more elevation, you give her a title. You give her a title. You give her a first title that's not the NXT Women's Championship. That's the only other title she's won. Maybe a women's title on the main roster on Raw, maybe it elevates Lyra to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
That's why I'm interested in this experiment. I'm intrigued how this reign will go and how long it'll go. Because I think Lyra, like I said in the ring, underrated in the ring. I think her in-ring work is really good. Her finisher is cool. Her kind of high-flying moves are cool. I like her dropkick. I love her moveset. I love what Lyra brings. I think it's just on the story end, it's been kind of trying to figure out how to tell a story with Lyra. Other than obviously the story they told with Becky Lynch in NXT. So it's been kind of an interesting road to try to tell that story. But again, in-ring wise, Lyra Valkyria has shown she is legit in the ring. I think it's just we need to see what we can do with her storyline. But maybe with her winning the IC title, maybe we can bring out a little more promo, a little more story out of her, and it could be really good. And it'll be interesting to see who's going to go after her first. And it looked like it was going to be Zoe Stark, because I think they did a promo before the IC Women's title, and Zoe Stark called out the winner. So I think Zoe, which is not a bad first opponent for Lyra Valkyria. I think Zoe Stark is underrated in the ring. Again, another person that needs a little work with story, but I do think, basically in ring wise, Zoe Stark has a sick ass finisher. I really like her moveset. She's someone that I could really respect. So that's a decent little first feud. If it is for Lyra, that's a decent start. It's not a bad start for Lyra. And we'll see where that kind of goes in the next couple weeks and how they're going to present Lyra, because now they have two mid-card women's titles on potentially pay-per-view. I'm very intrigued to see which one's going to be on pay-per-view more, because sometimes they keep some of them kind of exclusive to the brands. Like, for instance, like the IC title before Gunther and stuff was not on pay-per-view every week. It was only on shows. I'm intrigued to see which women's title is going to be on pay-per-view the most. Is it going to be Chelsea Green's US, or is it going to be Lyra's IC?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes as well. One thing I will say, even though it's not a negative towards the match, though. This is actually not even towards the match at all.
No.
I don't know what they did with Dakota's theme. I'm so mixed. I'm so mixed because I love Dakota's NXT theme so much, and I get she is a babyface now. She's not a heel anymore. I understand, but even as a babyface, that theme worked perfectly for her. It feels like she got Death Rebelled, and I hate it. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. Why WWE? Why? It's crazy too, because it's like night and day. It's like they nailed Penta's theme, that kind of rock style theme, epic Penta theme, and then you hear Dakota's and you're like, what? It's like it's not who Dakota Kai is. It's not who Dakota Kai is.
And here's the other thing though with that though, and they ruined the Judgment Day theme song.
Oh, I didn't even talk about that because, like, bro, we weren't even on Netflix yet. I wanted to keep positive vibes, but yeah, that is another theme that, what the fuck did they do to that? And listen, I get it. You didn't want to re-sign the rights again. It's kind of an Edge song. I get it, but like, dude, out of everything, that is the theme for Judgment Day? What do you mean? Like, what? That's not what they are. Like, that's why I'm thinking, like I said, that's why I was thinking, like, maybe they should have just called them Street Trash. Maybe. Because, like, that name sounds better with that theme than what the fuck we actually got. Because, brother, like, oh God. Again, there's a prayer hope that Death Rebel's contract is coming up. and some of the themes are starting to get corrected. Like I think Damian Priest has like a rock theme now.
Yeah, he has a better theme. I'll say this. Theme. I'll say this is it fits him. That's all I can say.
No, it fits him way better. It fits better what he's doing right now, like the rock, like kind of like it's good. Yep. It's good. It's really good stuff. But yeah, if this is it for Death Rebel, good riddance, because God, we've had some fucking terrible fucking themes, because oh my God, like it's rough. It's rough. Let's just put it that way. But that's my only little nitpick. Everything else, it was a solid match, and I'm interested where Lyra goes and how far she's gonna go with this title, because I think if we're gonna establish a women's mid card, we definitely need to have a decent division around her, of course.
Yeah, we gotta build up contenders. We gotta build contenders, meaningful storylines. That's what we gotta do.
That's what we gotta do for both divisions. And again, like I said, Zoe Stark seemed like she's the first one who got eliminated in the tournament. Not a bad first choice. Not a bad first choice at all. Like, that's actually a decent choice. If it is going to be Zoe Stark, a Pure Version collection stepping up, I think that's not a bad choice. So again, Zoe in ring wise, excellent. Her in ring work is great. So I think her and Lyra are going to fit just fine. So yeah, but congratulations to Lyra Valkyria. I'm excited for what's next for her. Because maybe, like I said, one title win can elevate you to wonders. So maybe this is kind of a situation where WWE is like, we get it, Dakota's established, and you guys really want Dakota, and we understand that. But let's try something a little bold, and let's go maybe Lyra. She wins the IC title, and maybe elevates her to a future beyond who knows. Like, her future can be even brighter than what it is already. So maybe, winning the IC Women's title, maybe that's the move. And we'll see if they're right. We'll come back to this conversation months later when she loses the title, and we'll say, was that the right choice? We'll get back to that conversation. But, again, I'm not trying to shit on anyone's parade. If you like Lyra Valkyria, I understand why. I just think I was pulling for Dakota really heavy because of everything she's been through.
Yeah, no, I think that she deserved the momentum, in my opinion.
I agree.
But, it is what it is, and we'll see what's coming next for these two.
Yeah, generally, I'm really intrigued. What is next? Generally, what is next for Miss Lyra? So we'll see what happens next. So I'll zoom to this match real quick. This was also another very short match. Sami Zayn versus The Miz is up next. Very short match. Like, this was maybe 7 minutes. Like, it was pretty short. It was a short match.
Yeah. I guess it was a solid match, but I think personally this was one of the weaker matches, in my opinion.
Like I think this was the weak match of the night. I think it was decent. It was okay. Great win for Sammy. I think it was a big win for Sammy. Really short. It was really short. I guess it got cut for time. But very short. Very short. But again, not bad. Not bad by any means. Good win for Sammy. Good momentum for Sammy. We'll see where Sammy goes this year.
And I think personally, I love the finish. Everything. I did love the finish.
The finish was cool. Yeah, it was really dope. They basically looked like Miz went for the Skullcrush finale, got caught in the corner. Boom, Luva kick right into Blue Thunder for the win. Really nice finish. I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
All right. Now on to the final segment of the night, and probably my third favorite segment of the night. Rhea Ripley addressing her championship victory. So Rhea Ripley on Netflix won the women's title from Liv Morgan, finishing up her long program with the Judgment Day and Liv Morgan. Now Liv Morgan and Judgment Day are behind her. Now Rhea Ripley can now restart her reign and prove why she should have never lost the title due to injury, and why Mommy's always on top. And she got a great reaction here. Everybody is super over for Rhea Ripley. She's not over for a reason. She's really something else. Everybody loves Rhea. Mommy's getting chants. Rhea's happy. And shouts, Mommy's back on top. She seems like she's a broken record, but I want to remind everybody who's forgotten, she is Rhea Bloody Ripley, and she is one of the most dominant women in WWE. Now, once again, your Women's World Championship. And as Rhea is about to explain, you hear Nia Jax's music. You're like, wait a minute, Nia Jax? What's this about? What is Nia Jax doing here? So Nia Jax heads down to the ring, and San Jose is just letting her have it. Like, so much heat on Nia Jax. Like, oh my god, the heat. It's weird. She had such a heat magnet. I was like, wow, they're really booing her. Damn. There's something about her that there's mad heat on her. Kind of crazy. But Nia Jax basically, as she gets loud bullies, says they're rude. Jax was talking to Adam Pearce about the transfer window. So as I said before, the transfer portal, the transfer window is still in effect. And as I said, any Raw or SmackDown or even NXT superstar can get called up to the main roster and go to a brand or get traded to Raw or SmackDown if they feel they're not valued enough. They can go to a new brand and start fresh. Instance, seems like Nia Jax could be one of them. So Nia Jax basically saying the trade window was basically talking to Adam Pearce to maybe potentially get a trade. But then she couldn't help herself. She couldn't help herself to be out there with Miss Mommy. She brings herself out here to talk to Mommy. Jax gets in the ring. She wants to let Ripley and everyone else know that she will win the Royal Rumble. So there we go. Our first Women's Royal Rumble confirmed. Nia Jax is going to the Rumble. So, as I expected. She'll take whatever title she wants. Tiffy thinks she might be on top. Mommy thinks the same thing. As for Bayley, she doesn't know why she's here. Because, forgot to say, Bayley was actually at ringside for most of the night. Because, again, hometown, San Jose, for Bayley. So, Nia Jax starts talking trash on her city. And then Bayley hops the barricade. Because you don't mess with a San Jose, Californian girl. You don't do that. So, Bayley hops the ring. She basically, Nia Jax making another joke about the whole BBL Bayley. Funny joke, of course, from the last feud. But Bayley says, come up with something original, Nia. But then Nia says, well, it's always funny every time. There's no point. So Bayley jumps the barricade and tells Nia Jax to come up with something different. They might not be her show, but this is her city. Crowd loves Bayley here. This is like home territory for Bayley. She's won world titles here. She's been in fights here. Everybody loves San Jose for Bayley. But this is her city. Bayley tells Jax, says what she has to basically say it to her face. Basically say, hey, say it to my face. And then as that happened, Bayley calls her a big old dumb idiot. Jax takes that to the heart, shoves Bayley, and then goes after face-to-face with Rhea. Rhea hits a headbutt. Nia's not affected by it because Nia basically shoves it off and headbutts Rhea Ripley. Bayley kicks Jax down in the face, and then Bayley and Rhea Ripley both finish off Nia with a clothesline boot combination. So now Nia gets kicked out of the ring, and Rhea and basically Bayley kind of give like a little hug, little high five, like, hey, we bros. But Bayley, you could see off the top of her eye, she looks at that women's title. So Bayley looks like her new target is the women's championship on Raw. Something Bayley has never won in her career. So, very interesting. And then basically from there, yeah, that's kind of it. Basically, Bayley and Rhea stand tall. If Nia Jax can get a partner, or maybe she's going to bring Candice with her, I could see a little tag match between these two to kind of introduce Nia back to Raw. Same with Bayley. Because Bayley actually has a busy week ahead. Like I said before, Bayley seems like she's going to be getting into a feud with Roxanne Perez. And she's going to be fighting Tiffany in about a day or two. She's going to fight Tiffany on SmackDown for potentially Bayley's last match on SmackDown before she gets traded to Raw. Because she already is making friends with Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Champion. This was a really good segment. This was a fun segment. Rhea is so good on the mic. Rhea is really good at her job. She just has the crowd in her hands. Like, there's really nothing more to it. Like, people are over as hell on Rhea. And funny enough, I thought she was going to cool off because of the Liv feud, but it's the complete opposite. She has not cooled off at all. If anything, she's gotten hotter than most. Because usually when you go into a long feud and a long program, a lot of fans are like, can you move on to something else? We're kind of cold. But reaction-wise, Rhea Ripley is still one of the most over women in the whole roster. That's crazy. That's how over Rhea Ripley is. So shout out to Rhea Ripley. I'm excited for what's next for her? Again, it seems like she's getting some old rivals, some old friends. It seems like Nia Jax wants a shot. Same with Bayley, it seems like. We'll see who else wants a shot, of course. And we'll see who goes where. There's a lot of movement right now with the trade window happening right now. The trade portal, the transfer portal. So we'll see what happens, but it seems like we're getting close to the end of the transfer portal, and we're gonna find out who's going to what brand, because there's gonna be a lot of movement, I think, in the next couple weeks. So, but yeah, shout out to Rhea Ripley. Super happy she won the women's title. I can't wait for this run. This has been one I've been waiting for a while, especially after she got injured. I'm like, when Rhea Ripley wins this title back, I think we're in for a hell of a run. Because she literally looks like a superstar. She's literally a world champion. You look at her, that's a world champion right there. That's how amazing Rhea Ripley is. So I'm excited to see what she's going to do with this women's division. I really am. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, another reign for Mommy, and it's going to be really interesting to see, what this reign is going to be all about. Because we definitely know for sure that her and Liv are over right now.
No, it's done. Like, Liv's probably moving on to something else. We still gotta wait. I had seen this thrown out. People were still waiting for Charlotte Flair. Don't know where she is.
Yeah, don't know what brand she's gonna be on.
Still waiting. Yeah, we're still waiting for Becky.
We do know that Becky might be on Raw. We do know Becky might be
it seems like Becky's going to Netflix. It'll be interesting to see if, because again, it seemed like the rumor is her and Liv could do a program. Because I think Liv said like, oh yeah, I like retired Becky or something, and then you just hear Becky's music,
that could make sense.
Gaga.
That could make sense.
Liv and Becky go into a little program for a little bit to get Becky back on TV. Not a bad program to start. Not a bad way to bring her back. And then I also heard there's like a lot of movement on like Alexa Bliss apparently. Apparently Bliss is rumored for the Rumble. She hasn't been seen in wrestling in years after basically having a kid.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, I generally forgot about Bliss, but when I heard people started saying, "Hey, what is it?
What does the future hold for Bliss?"
Yeah, like Bliss was posting tons of just old WWE stuff. Like she put her hair back. Her hair is back to pink. She did like a ton of like shirt pictures with WWE merch on it. So it seems like Alexa Bliss might be back at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And maybe we get the goddess again, because a lot of people have been wanting the goddess of wrestling. They haven't really wanted the whole Lily thing, and I respect that. I'm like, hey, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people.
And I think that, it was good at the moment for what it was with the Fiend, but eventually it ran its course. Could it be brought back? Maybe. But
I mean, it might be a hybrid situation where maybe like the feud is so intense she has to go to that place.
Yes,
maybe.
like the demon gimmick, like the Bray gimmick in a way.
I could see something like that.
Yeah.
But personally, for me, Goddess Bliss is where I respect Bliss the most. I think her best work is when she's the goddess Alexa Bliss. That's where I was like, this is the Bliss that
I do think that
know.
the outfit was a little, at first it was what it was, but as time went on, as it, became worse regarding the Fiend storyline, it did not look good on her.
No, it was not a good look. Like,
it didn't even make her look like a threat. It just made her look like a joke. Not to sit here and say she is a joke, but they made her look like a joke at the time. Yeah. Again, different management, different time. But when a new era,
and that's fair to have that kind of criticism. That's fair. That's fair, because I was very critical about it as well. Even though the Lily doll sold very well, her merch sold very well. But that was when she was with Bray, when they did the whole Fiend breakup, and he lost to Randy. At that point, I was like, oh man, it might run its course, and I was right. It ran its course. So luckily, Bliss has had time to kind of go away. They even did like some therapy things with her. And now it seems like she's finally starting to calm down, and we're starting to hopefully get a normal Alexa Bliss, a good Bliss, like a goddess Bliss that we kind of want. So we'll see. If Bliss is in the Rumble, it's going to be a nice turn to form, hopefully. And it'll be a nice addition to the women's division, which kind of needs some help over there. So I think Bliss is not a bad choice either. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the women. Rhea Ripley is now your women's world champion. Had a nice promo to to do the night.
Yeah.
Now, after announcing stuff about Saturday night's main event after that segment, so for next week as we roll into the main event, New Day did announce they will wrestle for the first time since turning on Big E. Oh boy, heel New Day in the ring. That's gonna be an interesting. Oh, that's gonna be an interesting.
A different face, a different.
Oh boy.
You know, just crazy.
A different kind of New Day. Okay, we'll see how it goes. We're also gonna have Hall of Famer JBL. He's gonna be on this show. They've been doing this recently with legends, especially since Triple H has taken over. It's like for Pittsburgh, they had Kurt Angle come out because he's from Pittsburgh. They're kind of doing the same thing here since they're going to Texas next week. JBL is going to be attended, so it should be pretty cool. JBL is usually cool. And then obviously the big fight, the one that everyone's talking about: Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre in a WrestleMania rematch. Yeah, this one should be fun. That's all for next week, though. Now, on to the main event, the main attraction, the final battle in this long story of Judgment Day versus the Terror Twins. El Campeón Damian Priest versus Finn Balor in a street fight. This has been a long time coming because of what Finn Balor did to Damian Priest at SummerSlam. Damian Priest was one South of Heaven chokeslam away from retaining his World Championship and walking into 2025 as World Champion.
Yep.
But what happened? Finn Balor broke his promise and turned on Damian Priest after putting the leg of Gunther on the rope. And Priest was like, yo, what are you doing? And you could see it in Finn's face of just, I just did something so evil. It had to happen situation. It was like, oh my God.
I think that's what it was. It had to be done.
It had to be done. He feels like he got shelved by Priest. He had to get revenge, and he did. He cost Priest the title. Gunther's now your world champion, and now here we are. So promos continue to go back and forth between the two. Finn explains that he felt like Damian Priest, betrayed the word of what the Judgment Day was supposed to be after Edge left. Was no leaders, no followers. We're all a family. Finn said that all changed after you won the World Heavyweight title. And I could see it in Finn's face. You could tell when Priest was around with the world title, he kind of led the group a little bit. And Finn felt like that's broken trust. So in Finn's eyes, I kind of get what you mean. So when Finn formed this new Judgment Day, even though it's not as good as the original, he kept his word. There's no leaders. All of them are somewhat family, even though that family's also breaking apart. Yeah, a lot of factions breaking apart. But Finn kept his word. He basically said no leaders. And there's literally, like, yes, it is technically Finn's kind of leading, but again, there's no true leaders, because even Liv took this away from Mom. Because Mom was part of Judgment Day, took that away. Took away her career, and took away her title. Liv did her part, but Finn could not do his. Well, he kind of achieved it, because he screwed Damian Priest, but the other half not so much. So then we're like, alright, when are these two gonna finally have a match? Well, they had a match at Bad Blood, and it was alright, but again, it felt overshadowed with, like, Roman and Cody and other stuff, and Liv and Rhea. Just really, really overshadowed. So, what did WWE do? Well, they kind of put the feud on the back burner. Yes, Priest did get attacked by, like, Carlito and JD and Finn for certain matches, but it felt like it was kind of left on the back burner. Then it started picking up steam again, because the War Raiders got involved. The War Raiders won the tag titles from Judgment Day thanks to Damian Priest. After Finn Lilly was going to take a chair, he takes out JD and Finn, and the War Raiders do their finish, and now the War Raiders are the World Tag Team Champions. They were also there tonight as well, watching in the crowd very closely, hopefully seeing what's next for them in the tag division and everything, etc. So Damian Priest basically does that, and it basically, this is what led to the final battle, a street fight. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, no disqualification, no count out, pinfall to a finish to finish it off. And then, so yeah, that's basically what's led to the street fight. Now, how was the match itself? Honestly, probably the best match in their series.
Yeah,
it was really good.
100%.
It was their
100%.
It was their match of the series. It was fantastic. It was really good. Even for it getting a little shorter than I thought it was, I still thought it was great. There's a couple spots to note. They basically Priest was hitting him with a kendo to start the match. It was like the kendo given to him by like Bad Bunny and Savio Vega with like the Puerto Rican flag, and it was very like very home kind of feeling with the kendo and everything, which was really cool. Then Finn grabbed his own kendo and started beating Priest with it. They started beating him up with a chair, just weakening the body, the leg, just kind of weakening Priest as much as he can. Then they go near the announce table. There's chairs everywhere. There's things everywhere. Then it looked like Priest was about to do a South of Heaven through a table, and then Finn reversed. And then Finn hit the nastiest looking coup de grace through the table.
Yeah.
And that man bounced off the table piece like a trampoline. Like, that dude flew when he landed. It looked brutal. It looked vicious. Crazy spot there. Then they go fighting into the crowd. Priest fighting Finn through the people. Finn trying to escape and get out of the way, but every time Priest would kind of try to get to Finn, Finn would always have a counter. And then this was basically my spot of the night. My spot of the night. They're setting up on top of a crowd area on like I want to say like it's around like the 100 sections, I think. And there's a bunch of people. A humongous platform is like right below them with a bunch of tables, some cups, some food. Like it would look like it was table for like production, basically, for the production team.
Oh yeah.
So it looked like Finn was about to superplex this man through tables, but Priest countered. And then you probably know where this goes.
Yep.
Priest lines up, he sees the table, and sends Finn careening through the table with a broken arrow. Oh my god, spot of the fucking night. Finn looked dead after that spot. That dude was not moving.
He had the wind knocked out of him, basically.
That dude was not moving. And they even like really built in the story because they had a whole stretcher. They had a stretcher, they had a cast on his neck. Priest survived and walked towards the ring waiting for Finn to get back up because again the match was still underway at the time. The bell was never rung, so that means the match is still technically in play. So what did Priest do? Well, Priest forced Finn to continue the fight. He grabs him in the stretcher, he grabs him in the cast, he takes out JD and Carlito. They're taken out, and now it's just Finn and Priest. Street fight still going on, and then Finn again with the chair, just wailing Priest with the chair. But then Finn made a little mistake. Finn went. They basically, it looked like Finn was gonna go for coup de grace, and then Priest hit that nasty-looking clothesline on Finn, and it looked like Priest was about to get the win. But then again, Judgment Day, Carlito and JD come out to help Finn after getting taken out by Priest on the apron. Now they take him out and they basically put the cast on Finn's neck and force him to do a coup de grace on Priest. And guess what? It's not enough. It's not enough. Priest kicks out. So then what does Priest have to do next? Priest basically finally takes out the rest of the Judgment Day. They're taken out, and then finally the big finish. Grabs Finn by the throat, hits one South of Heaven, and then lines up and hits another South of Heaven. 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor goes down, and Damian Priest wins the feud and takes out Finn out of his life. And now Priest can focus on bigger and better things, and Finn can go his separate ways. Again, like I said, it's been a roller coaster with this feud, but I will give WWE a ton of credit. They ended it very strong. I think it was a strong ending to the Judgment Day feud. I believe this feud is over. This feud is done. There's no need to go back to it. It's done. It's done. I think it's over. Now Damien could focus on maybe championship contention, while Finn can focus on other things. Maybe championship contention as well, I believe. So, but yeah, it's been a hell of a feud, even with the ups and downs of it getting kind of left behind. I think in the end it ended very strong, and I'm glad these two got a chance to showcase on Netflix a really fun street fight and a great way to end Raw. So,
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's it basically. That's Raw. That was Raw. On Netflix,
Like I
the
said,
second
you know,
episode.
Raw delivered on another, you know, hell of a show and a hell of a main event with the
Not
Judgment
really.
Day.
No,
And
100%.
yeah, to finish off that feud, yeah, no, that was the way to go.
Yeah, that was the way to go, I think.
That was the way to go. And
Yeah, I think that was...
and appreciate them though for that, you know, because we can finally say that the Judgment Day feud has been put to rest.
It's done. It's done. We can finally move on for Damian Priest and for Miss Rhea Ripley, the Terra Twins. The Terra Twins can finally move on from the Judgment Day and do their own separate things. Or if they ever need to team up for something, they could always team up if they ever need to. But, yeah. Priest, I don't know what's next for Priest. I really don't. For me, like I said it when we were talking about the review. When I picked Priest to win this, I was like, maybe potentially World Championship contention once again. Maybe after Gunther.
I do see that.
Or potentially if Jay wins, you go after Jay or something like that. Or potentially him in the IC title against Breaker. I think that'd be a fun match. Because again, Priest has never had any history with the IC title, so it could be something a little different for him. For Finn Balor, well, right now I can't say World Championship contention, but what I can say is maybe after he's done with JD, maybe IC title contention for Finn. Maybe go into that division. If, say, like, Sheamus or someone wins it, you can have, like, a good heel and Finn winning it. You could do something like that. I could also see him going one more time against War Raiders, I think, for the tag team titles, because I think JD put in the request, so I think that'll be the last time those two will fight.
Yeah.
Then we'll figure out something else for the War Raiders.
And I think that they did say that it would be announced for next week, I believe they said.
Yeah, next week I believe it's announced, so I believe it's going to be the last time. It'll be the first time the War Raiders on Netflix, that's pretty cool, but it'll be the last time these two will fight for the tag team titles, probably for a long time, and those guys will figure out something else to do, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm just very grateful that this feud ended on a good note. I was a little scared they were going to leave it behind and we're going to be stuck in a very long circle. But I'm very glad they ended it on a good turn. They ended it with a really fun street fight. Priest looking like a star more than ever. And all I can say is just appreciate it. I appreciate WWE with everything. I appreciate what they're doing over there. Finishing off old feuds, starting new ones, and yeah, just WWE continues to be on a high level on Netflix, and we're only 2 episodes in, and that's like the crazy part. I can't wait to come back to this when like we're like a year into WWE Netflix and just talk about all the great moments and all the craziness on WWE Netflix as it is. As we head to the Royal Rumble, which is the next thing coming up. Yeah, like WWE is already on and popping in 2025, and I'm a happy guy. I can't be frustrated. I can't be angry. I can't do it anymore. I'm so happy because I want WWE to do well. And now, I mean, you're doing something right when you're able to sign one of the best luchadors in the world, and Penta Acero Miedo, aka Penta. You know you're doing something right when you can get Penta to come to your company. You know you're doing something right. So. But kudos to WWE, sure. seriously, kudos to WWE. They've done fantastic work, and all I could say is I appreciate it. And that's really what it is. I appreciate all of it. I really do. I really do.
Can't wait for next week. Can't wait to see what that delivers. Can't wait for Friday. You know, we just saw NXT yesterday as well. Solid show.
Yes. Solid
show.
Decent.
You know, matches were all right, but again, I think this was just a storytelling, you know, episode, basically a build-up episode, I would say, mostly. Yeah. But that main event delivered. Let's just say that Fraxium once again still continues to be considered
just
the best tag team
like,
in NXT.
One of the best tag teams in all of WWE. Like they're in the conversation of just excellent.
Oh yeah, but they are intended to fight DIY.
Yeah, DIY was on NXT, looking at the roster like, who should we fight? But we will be watching the NXT title match, those tag team title matches, to keep an eye out on Fraxium. And they specifically want to fight Fraxium, which is something that, that's a good match right there. That's something I can sink my teeth into 100%. The original great tag team in DIY versus, well, heel DIY, I should say now, and then the baby faces of Fraxium, who are beloved by everybody. Yeah, that is something I could see.
That could be interesting.
Hey, I do want to give a huge shout out to OTM though. Like, I know a lot of people haven't talked about them as much, but I really like what they're doing.
I think personally after tonight, everyone knows that OTM is potential champions in the future.
Them and Jada Parker, all three of them. Even after Reggie leaving, they're still. They got a lot. They got a lot to prove. Jada might be obviously the star of the show, of course, because again, Jada's just like she's just something. Like she has superstar written all over her.
Oh yeah.
But OTM as a tag team, I mean, hey, they're impressive big dudes. Like they were doing stuff that I was like, whoa. I was like, oh my god, it's incredible. So watch out for OTM. They're gonna be an underrated team in that division for a long time. Watch out for those guys. Those guys are gonna be underrated, going forward. And again, like I said, we've had a ton of great conversation about NXT. Outside the pot, of course, but like teams that I like. If you guys want to know, like Hank and Tank is another team I really like. Those dudes are hilarious, but they're fantastic. I love their work. OTM's another good team. I like the Tony D'Angelo family. Fraxium is another good one I like. There's so many good teams on NXT that I really like, and everything. So yeah, NXT was solid. Again, like I said, Roxanne and Bayley. It seems like they're setting up a program. I'm pretty interested in that. That's kind of a cool, kind of like a mentor versus teacher kind of situation. I really like what they're doing with that. Good little ending feud to wrap up for Roxanne before she gets called up, I think. So I like that planning there.
And now, next week is looking pretty interesting too, because we have both the NXT and the North American titles on the line, as it'll be Tony D'Angelo versus Rich Holland for the North American title, and then we have Oba Femi defends his title in his very first defense in his
Eddie Thorpe
in the Rula's reign on NXT versus Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe.
Yeah, bro. Oh my god.
The man has been desperate for attention.
I call him Petty Eddie. I call him Petty Eddie. Because that dude, bro, he be like the pettiest dude on the planet. But he still gets what he wants, and he's gonna get Oba. He's gonna get what he wants. He's like an annoying tick that can't get off your body. That's kind of what Eddie's been, because he's like I said, he's not the biggest dude on the planet. He's like the smallest guy, but he's getting world title matches without even deserving. Like it's crazy. It's insane. But again, he pissed off Oba, and now Oba has to destroy the Eddie next week. Like he has to get his hands on Eddie. So I respect Oba for saying, you know what? I don't like Eddie Thorpe, but you know what? I want him bad. I want Eddie bad. So that's what we're gonna get next week. And this is all, like I said, forming up to Vengeance Day. We'll probably find out what's next for Julia, what's next for Steffi Vakir, of course. She was finishing up a feud with Cora. Now she's the number one contender. She beat Shotzi, so now she's the number one contender for the Women's North American Championship against Fallon Henley. I'm assuming that match is gonna happen at Vengeance Day. And then also from there, then it's on to basically Stand and Deliver. I don't think NXT did the pay-per-views. It's just right to Stand and Deliver. So it's gonna be a fun year for NXT. I think it's gonna be a fun year for NXT. Also, Masha Slamovic was in the crowd. If you guys know TNA a lot, I really like Masha Slamovic, so it was really cool to see her in the crowd watching everything very closely. Potentially could get an open challenge potentially something Jordan Grace did. So could be cool there. And then tonight, obviously, I'll at least speak on this because there is something really cool happening tonight for Maximum Carnage. Kenny Omega returns to the ring for the first time since being injured and basically having diverticulitis after his match at Wrestle Kingdom. He will return to the AEW ring for the first time against a really cool opponent, against Brian Cage. I think the match itself has a lot of potential, so I'm excited for Kenny's return. I'll be watching that, catching up on that tomorrow. But yeah, shout out to Kenny Omega. I'm excited to see him back in the ring.
Yeah, shout out tonight as we are watching AEW Maximum Carnage. Definitely going to be a good looking show so far as we have.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't.
also a match in the making. Powerhouse Hobbs versus Moxley. The only reason
Yeah.
Powerhouse, basically got injured was because of fighting for the IWGP World Title. They had a World Title match, and Will Hobbs got hurt. Again, not his fault, of
Oh,
course.
wow.
He got hurt. He got hurt during the match. So Powerhouse won the gauntlet and got the number one contendership, and now he's gonna fight Moxley and Maximum Carnage. But then also we need to find out who's gonna fight Mariah May at AEW Grand Slam in Australia, because they're going to Australia next month. They're having that this week. A lot of big names like Chris Statlander, Thunder Rosa. There's a ton of big names in there. Tony Storm's in there. There's a ton of names that's gonna go after Mariah. We'll see who wins that as well. And yeah, those are kind of like the big things going on that side of the show and everything. So, Hook and Christian Cage are gonna finally fight after Christian Cage basically attacking Taz and everything. So that stuff is starting to pop up again. And yeah, so, but yeah, that's basically it. I don't have anything else to talk about. That's kind of it. But again, like I said last week, we had a fun time doing this. It was great doing it again.
Oh yeah.
And I can't wait for shows like Saturday Night Main Event, Royal Rumble, and more Raw on Netflix and SmackDown. I'll be very intrigued to see what's going on with like Tiffany and Bayley and what else they have planned for SmackDown. But yeah, that's it. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for staying with us.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. This is gonna be a fun journey, and already 2 episodes in, I'm feeling pretty good. I can't lie.
Yep.
But that's it for me and Manny. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.
Deuces. Ooses.
Deuces. Yeet.
Yeet. And you guys again.